My grandmother had always seemed old to me, wrinkled, serene, timeless. Her portrait in my mind was fixed: silver hair, stooped frame, white sari, lips moving in silent prayer. People said she was once young and pretty, but I could never imagine it. Her face was a map of wrinkles, her presence a quiet force in our home. She moved through the house, telling her beads, her every gesture a ritual of peace. The idea of her youth felt like a myth, a story that didn't belong to the woman I knew. She was beautiful, not in the way of youth, but in the way of mountains in winter. Calm, enduring, pure. Her prayers and routines were the heartbeat of our household. This is the image etched in my memory. My grandmother, ageless, a monument of love and wisdom. To imagine her any other way felt impossible. She was the embodiment of quiet dignity, a presence that seemed eternal. In my childish mind, she had always been there, and always would be. My grandmother and I were inseparable when my parents left me in her care. She woke me, dressed me, and sang her prayers as she prepared me for school. We shared stale chapati for breakfast, and she always saved some for the village dogs. Our walk to the temple school was our daily ritual, her reading scriptures, me learning the alphabet. The dogs followed us home, fighting for her chapatis, a lesson in kindness I never forgot. Our world was small but complete, built on simple routines and quiet affection. In those days, she was my guardian, my teacher, and my closest friend. When we moved to the city, everything changed. My grandmother no longer walked me to school. I rode a bus, and she fed sparrows in the courtyard. Our conversations grew fewer as I brought home English words and science she didn't understand. She missed the old ways, prayers, scriptures, the village rhythm. When I told her about music lessons, she was silent, disapproving. Her world and mine drifted apart, the bond of our friendship quietly snapping. We shared a room, but not our lives. She retreated into her prayers and sparrows, I into my studies and friends. The city had built a wall between us, not of bricks, but of silence and change. Our easy intimacy faded, replaced by a polite, aching distance. The village days became a distant, cherished memory. University gave me a room of my own, and the last thread of our old friendship broke. My grandmother spent her days at her spinning wheel, lost in prayer and solitude. Only in the afternoons did she come alive, feeding sparrows who flocked to her for crumbs. That half hour was her joy, a connection to a world that understood her gentle spirit. I watched, feeling both guilt and loss, realizing how far apart we'd grown. The sparrows responded to her in ways I no longer could. Our lives ran on parallel tracks, close but never meeting. My world expanded, hers shrank to her room, her wheel, her birds. We loved each other, but no longer shared a language. The bond of our village days was now a fragile, distant thread. When I left for studies abroad, I expected tears, but my grandmother was silent. She came to the station, lips moving in prayer, fingers on her rosary. Her kiss on my forehead was a blessing, not a goodbye, a silent sacrament. She let me go with dignity, her faith stronger than any words. As the train pulled away, she stood motionless, absorbed in prayer. Her composure was immense, her love unspoken but unwavering. That final image, her small white figure lost in prayer, became my guiding star. Her strength in letting go taught me more than any farewell could. 5 years later, I returned. She greeted me unchanged, her embrace filled with prayer. Her happiest moments were still with her sparrows, feeding them with playful scolds. That evening, she gathered neighbors, sang and drummed in celebration, a rare break from her prayers. The next morning, she fell ill. The doctor was hopeful, but she knew her time had come. She told us she would spend her last hours in prayer, not conversation. We protested, but she ignored us, lying peacefully with her beads. Quietly, her lips stopped moving, the rosary slipped from her fingers. She passed as she lived, calm, dignified, faithful. There was no struggle, only a gentle release. The silence that followed was profound, her absence a void in our home. Her passing marked the end of an era, her prayers leaving a stillness in the air. She left us with the memory of a life lived with unwavering grace. We laid her on the ground, covered in a red shroud, and left to arrange her funeral. When we returned, Thousands of sparrows filled her room and veranda, silent and still. My mother scattered breadcrumbs, but the birds ignored them. They had come not for food, but to mourn their friend. Their quiet presence was a powerful tribute, a final farewell. The next morning, the crumbs were swept away, untouched. The courtyard, once alive with her kindness, was now empty, echoing with memory. Her legacy was not in possessions, but in the silent love she left behind, for us and for the sparrows.